Okay, here we go. This is my first video that I'm posting in regards to the Bigfoot thing. First I'm going to tell you, so a lot of people have asked about what my experience was. I've had two experiences, I believe. One was just audio and one was a visual. They both took place in northern Michigan, in the lower peninsula, the northern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan, in the Atlanta, Lewiston area, if anybody knows where that is. It's about halfway between Gaylord and Alpena, both of which are on a map, and you can probably look at it and see from there. So the first one was when my two oldest kids were really little, probably 3 and 6, and they're 21 and almost 19 now. So it was years ago, about 3 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the night. Well, let me set it up. We lived on 40 acres in the middle of nowhere. Across the street was 40 acres that my husband's sister owned. We were on a corner for miles and miles down the road. It was just acres and acres, plots that were all family owned. So it's all private land. Then behind his sister's property, it's all state land, and it goes for forever, miles and miles and miles. So this is where we lived. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, it was probably early spring. It was fairly cold outside, but it wasn't, there wasn't snow or anything. He wakes me up. It's a crystal clear night. Wakes me up, says, "Come here, you gotta hear this, you gotta hear this." So I go to the back porch. We had a sliding glass door. Went out onto the back porch, or leaned out the door to the back porch. It's just a lean-to back there. It wasn't enclosed. It was all open. Lean out there and hear this noise that was a very extremely loud, extremely horrible, undescribable sound. It was definitely an animalistic sound. It was extremely loud. I've had people tell me that, it was a fox, or it was a bobcat, or it was a cougar. First of all, I'd heard all these types of animals. This was not what it was. Second of all, it was so loud and powerful that whatever was making this noise had a lung capacity beyond any of those animals. You could feel this noise as if you're too close to a speaker at a concert, and you can feel that, the noise in your chest going. You can feel the resonating. That's like, you could feel the noise. That's how loud it was. It was probably a few hundred yards away, yet it was loud enough to where you could feel it. It started out as and it's so hard to explain for somebody that's never heard this. It starts out as a scream, a roar, growl, kind of all rolled into one. It morphs from one to the other. It's really hard to explain, but it's a horrible, horrible noise. And it went on, and it was the length of this sound, call, scream, whatever you want to call it, was such too that there's no way that it was a fox or some small mammal. Whatever this was a 900,000 pound animal with a huge lung capacity. Like I said, you could feel it. So this noise went on for quite some time. My husband at the time, he's my ex-husband now, wanted to go out there and check it out. I wouldn't let him do it. Nothing ever came of it. I don't know that we never found any prints or went back there and looked or anything. So I don't know what that was. And at the time, I didn't really, I had heard of Bigfoot. I grew up in the 70s, so anybody that grew up in the 70s had heard of Bigfoot. But it never played in my mind, and I never thought about Bigfoot. I never, it was just kind of a joke type thing. So it wasn't until years later that I looked back at this experience and thought, I think that's what that might have been. My other experience was a sighting. I was on my way home from work, and it was probably 5:30 in the evening, and it was summertime, so it was still plenty of daylight. I was coming down a back dirt road, and it was McCormick Lake Road, which is off of 32 that goes into Gaylord, so if anybody knows that area. Basically, it's a hairpin turn. You come down the highway, and you turn and backtrack beside the highway along this dirt road, and then you go back and into where you want to go. So there's the highway and this dirt road and the hairpin turn, and it goes like this, and you parallel the highway for a while, and then you start to go off like this on the dirt road. So there's a V area there for half a mile or so. In between the highway and this dirt road, in that V'd-in area, there is a cedar swamp. Big, huge, tall, old cedar trees, swampy, yucky, mucky area. There's, no reason for anybody to ever be in there. And you could, being that it was daylight, you could see through the trees, through the swamp, to the highway, but you couldn't see in the swamp, if that makes any sense. It was very dark inside the cedar swamp area, but between the trees, you could see the sunlight on the other side to where you could see where the highway was. So I was going down this dirt road, and I was going kind of slow because in the summertime up there, and it's washboard, bumpity bump, bump, bump. So I wasn't going very fast. Something caught my eye, like a flash out of the corner of my eye. And my first thought was that one of our neighbor's horses had gotten loose and was running like on the highway on the other side of the swamp or something, because I couldn't figure out what else, I guess, would run that fast. So I slowed down even more, and I started looking to see if I could see it. And in the swamp, I caught a couple glimpses, and this is what I saw. And all I could see was an outline or a silhouette type thing, because like I said, it was very dark in the swamp. But when I looked through, I could see this thing moving, and in between the trees, I could see head, shoulders, side view of a head, shoulders, arms, swinging, one arm forward, one arm back, and the legs, and thick legs. This thing had thighs as big around as, somebody's chest. I mean, the thighs on this thing were huge. And it was running on two legs, and it was about the same level as me with its head. I'm in a car, I'm on the road, it's in a cedar swamp, which goes down like this between the road and the ditch. So it had to be at least 9 feet tall for its head to be even with me in the car up on the road when it was down in the swamp. You could see hair swinging on the arms. You could tell it had hair. It was running super fast. There's no possible way a person could run that fast, especially through a swamp like that. And like I said, I could see between the two legs. I could see between the legs, the sunlight coming between the legs as it ran. The light coming between the body and the arms, swinging as it ran. The head, big huge head, no neck, not coned that I could tell, but I didn't see it straight on. I saw it from the side, so I suppose the head looked big. It could have been smaller and had a crest. I don't know. It looked rounded to me, but I was looking at it from the side. Obviously covered with hair, moving extremely fast. I slowed down again. I had slowed down originally to look at it. I saw what I saw. I kind of sped up a little bit to actually try to keep up with it now, because now I slowed down. Now it's going faster than me, and it's in the swamp. And I can't imagine how this thing was running that fast through that swamp. So I pull up a little bit, and I'm watching it. I look to the road to make sure I'm not going to hit a tree or go off the road or hit somebody that's coming at me. I look back, and it's gone. And I don't know if when I looked away, if it took off and went past me, and I was looking in the wrong spot, and it was, up here. I don't know if it stopped behind a tree. I don't know if it stopped and squatted down. I don't know where it went. But it scared me because the direction that this thing was running, and the way the road went, had it continued to go the way it was going, eventually at some point it could or would cut me off in my car. This made me really, really nervous. At the time, I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. It never even crossed my mind. It was, what the heck was that? Whatever it was, or whoever it was huge. I'm in a geo tracker, which is like a little tin can. I had a soft top. That thing could have easily ripped the top off my car, the door off my car, pulled me out of my car, flung me, done whatever. There wasn't a thing I could have done about it. Locking the doors wasn't going to help. So I was really, really nervous that I was going to come across this thing again. I never did. I don't know what happened to it. I never went back and looked for prints. Again, at the time, I wasn't thinking Bigfoot. And I don't think there would have been prints anyway in the cedar swamp. It was probably running through water almost. So it wasn't until years later that I kind of put two and two together, started researching the Bigfoot thing, said maybe, I'm thinking that's what I saw. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a person. I don't know what it was. I'm leaning towards it. It was a Bigfoot, but I can't say 100%. But it was crazy, and it was scary. There have been other sightings in that area. That area is known as the elk capital of Michigan. There's a lot of elk in there. So, knowing what I know now, that makes sense that Bigfoot could be in that area. I did report this to the BFRO. They contacted me. The guy that lives up in that area of Michigan said that there's been a lot of sightings in that area. My son currently still lives in that area. I live down in the lower part of Michigan, now in the suburb of Detroit. My son still lives up in that area, and he is starting to do a little bit of his own research. We purchased a few audio recorders that he's leaving out in the woods for 12, 15 hours at a time overnight, listening to those, trying to see if we get any audio. He's not too awful far away from where Jim Sherman does his research, so we're thinking, hoping that something that's right where I had my two experiences is where he still lives in that same house. So hopefully something will come of that. Another thing I wanted to point out, and I don't do a whole lot of this, but the main reason I wanted to make this video is because I want to do this the nicest way I possibly can. I don't think, and I don't consider myself a researcher because I don't have the I'm more of an armchair researcher because I don't have the resources and the available time and things to get out and do the research in the woods, or I would. But I do a lot of quote-unquote armchair desk research. And I follow a lot of researchers on YouTube, and there's several of them, and people know, who they are. I've been following Timber Giant since the beginning. I've been, Tim Stover in Ohio, and, more newer ones, Mr. Angus Wengus, and Bigfoot hunting guy in Oklahoma, and, a lot of them. I subscribe to a lot of these channels. I like to watch the videos of them out in the woods, see what they get, that type of thing. And there are times when, I think, well, people will post something, especially if it's, I don't want to put this in a negative way, because I don't think that it does the Bigfoot community any good when people constantly make videos and comments, especially videos, berating other researchers. This guy's a fake. That guy's a hoax. This guy's doing that. And it's like, first of all, you weren't there, so you don't know. You can't say 100% that anybody's hoaxing anything, even if it looks like a horrible, terrible suit and the Bigfoot's purple. You can't say 100% you know that's a fake because you weren't there when the guy filmed it or girl filmed it. So you can't say this guy's a fake. 100% I know this. And there's been a lot of videos posted lately about different researchers. And people are saying, this guy's fake because of this. You know, or they even go as far as to say, this guy, you know, it's fishy because he won't tell anybody where he is, where he researches. And then they'll, in the same video, they'll turn around and say, well, I don't tell anybody where I research because I don't want anybody to know where I'm at, so, you know, I don't get a lot of people there. So it's like, people are saying that somebody's fake because of this, this, and this, yet they're turning around and doing the exact same thing. Oh, but mine's not fake. His is, but mine's not fake. And it's like, if we could just, if everybody, if you think the guy's a fake, fine. If you want to leave a comment, fine. Don't watch his videos anymore. Don't follow the research anymore. People are smart enough to figure out for themselves, put clues together themselves as to whether or not there's a fake or not. Whether they think it's fake or not, like I said, nobody can know 100% because you're not out in the woods with the guy. You don't know what the circumstances were. You know, whether he posts the whole unedited film or not, or whether he posts the whole unedited audio or not, or whether, you know, it's just silly. It's childish. It's, you know, I have an 8-year-old that acts more mature than some of these people on YouTube. You know, you can't say this guy's fake because he does this. I do the same thing, and I'm not fake. I'm on the level, but that guy's fake because he does that, even though I do the same thing. That's just retarded. That's just stupid. You can't do that. It's just dumb. It's very frustrating for people that want to follow and want to learn and want to get more knowledge into, you know, in the Bigfoot thing, and to just have people biting each other's ears off. This guy's audio's fake. You know, the one guy says his audio's fake because the Bigfoot says his name. Then in the next video, there's another guy that the guy that called the first guy a fake because the Bigfoot said his name. They come out and a guy on their team says, hey, I got on my tent this morning and somebody called my name and I think it was a Bigfoot. You know, but ours isn't fake, but his is fake. It doesn't serve any purpose. It serves no purpose. It's completely insane. And I just wish everybody could stop. Do your own thing. Pay attention to your own research. If you follow somebody else, you don't like what they're doing, you think they're fake, don't watch them. If you want to leave a comment and say, hey, dude, why is this like this? Because, boy, that really, you know, discredits something, and have a civil conversation back and forth with the researcher, that's fine. If that's not possible or you don't want to do that, fine. Leave it alone. Don't watch them. Don't follow them. Do your own thing and let that guy do his thing. If he's fake enough and, you know, puts out a bunch of garbage, people are going to figure that out for themselves. The general, you know, the people in the Bigfoot community are not complete dolts. We can figure out for ourselves whether somebody's fake or not. And it just drives me insane that everybody is calling everybody else names and pointing fingers at everybody else, and this guy's a quack, and this guy's crazy, and this guy's a fake, and this guy's a hoax, and here's why this guy's a hoax, and then somebody else will say this is why this first guy's a hoax, and it's crazy. It's a vicious circle, and it's stupid, and it serves no purpose. You know, like I said, if you don't like the guy, you think he's a fake, don't watch his videos. Just leave it alone. Do your own thing. Stop pointing fingers at everybody. It makes me want to just unsubscribe to everybody. It really does. But anyway, I just had to put my 2 cents out there because I don't think that I'm the only person that feels this way. To have one person come out and say this and another person come out and say that, you know, and they're basically saying the same thing about each other. But he's a liar, but I'm not. But we're both saying the same thing. It's dumb. But anyway, that's my 2 cents, and that was my experiences that happened in northern Michigan. And other than that, I just wish instead of pointing fingers, we can all just pool whatever knowledge we have together. Everybody put everything into one bucket and sort it out, and I think we'd get farther and get more knowledge that way. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. See you later.